Monday, January 21st, 2019, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. This morning I want to talk about the nature of money, how to understand money. I know many of you already know this, but I need to keep informing the general public. I keep getting new subscribers, new viewers, and I think it's never boring to explain to people how things work, how the banking system works, and how you need to be outside that banking system if you want to fight the current monetary banking system, which is corrupt. It favors the people at the very top. Am I a communist, socialist? No. I'm for free markets, no central banking, no government interference in the markets and in money, for that matter. And I also look at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, starting tomorrow, running for 4 days from the 22nd to the 25th. Davos is a very small resort in Switzerland, and it looks like they're disrupting the local economy there. The World Economic Forum is kind of an overt Bilderberg for the corporate fascist world that we live in. And why do I say that? Well, because the big corporations, the new world order globalists, they've taken over government. I've made many videos, especially a couple of days ago, about synarchy. That's what we have at Davos. I'm glad President Trump is not going there. He did go last year, but I guess if he is fighting these people, he needs to get close to them as well, maybe. And I also want to talk about one of the comments I got from one of my viewers. His name, if he doesn't mind me saying, is Richard Henry. He made a few comments. One of the videos I made recently, I think it was on the 12th of January. And it's a video that's done quite well. I've got almost 20,000 views. And it's about France bank runs. Is this the Henry Ford moment? So I'll look into that. I'll look at the markets as well, see what they're doing this morning. It's just gone past 8 a.m. London. So let's start with the markets, then we look at the nature of money, the World Economic Forum, who's behind it, and the quote from the viewer. So right now, spot gold is at $12.82. It's up about half a dollar. The range has been fairly narrow, 12.81 to 12.83.80. Silver is down a cent at 15.31. The range has been 15.28 to 15.40. So precious metals have held this morning. Not a great day on Friday for precious metals. The Dow right now is down 78, 24,620. Down a third. S&P is down 0.25% at 2663. Nasdaq 100 future is down 0.4%, 6755. Excuse me. Currencies are fairly quiet. Sterling or cable is virtually unchanged, 128.68. The euro is up 0.2% at 113.85. So we've been stuck around below and above 114 here in the euro versus the dollar. Dollar is down 0.16 against the yen, 109.58. And the dollar is down not marginally against the yuan, is at 679.60. Crude oil, it's fairly strong here. I mean, the Friday it had a 52 handle. Right now it's 54.04. It's unchanged, so we had a good move up on Friday in crude. What about the bond market? Well, today I didn't realize is a public holiday in the U.S. I guess it doesn't really matter. The government is already shut down. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Treasury market is shut. There's no trading in U.S. Treasuries, at least in the cash market. So that's what's going on in the market. fairly quiet. What about money? Well, just want to talk briefly here. You know what money is. Money's got to be something of value that you can store some of your, how can I say, spare wealth. How does one create wealth? Well, by doing something productive, by growing a crop, by providing a service, by providing entertainment, whatever, something that someone like can't do but likes to have, and then this other person, of course, wants this value. They've got to provide some value. They might do something better than you. So that's basically barter. So in the barter system, if you don't have value to exchange for value, you won't be able to transact that exchange. So money is very important because it allows in the modern economy for people to indirectly exchange value. And historically, money has been something that holds its value over very long periods. It's easily portable, easily divisible. It's a rare and luxury commodity that people, how can I say, always desire, because it's got to be desirable, because if it's not, it doesn't work. And that's why water isn't money, because once you drink enough water, if you're really thirsty, you don't want any more. So it's got to be a commodity that negates the law of diminishing returns. And the law of diminishing returns is that, you know, the economic law that says when you've had too much of something, you don't want it anymore, you don't value it as much. And it's been historically, it's been many things like money. It's been livestock, it's been grains. Some people say it's been tablets, but I would say the tablets are more a way of keeping track of the exchanges. But you could argue that it records where the value is. I guess old kings could create value on tablets, but the reason they could create that value is because they had the power to do it through force. It wasn't voluntary. So, but in a hunter-gatherer or, you know, a society that isn't specialized, you certainly don't want to exchange something that has no value. You know, you don't want to take something that doesn't have any value for something that, you know, and give something that has value to someone else. And in the last few thousand years, gold and silver have proven to be that, you know, that which money, you know, is, that something that allows indirect exchange. They're very easily divisible, especially nowadays with the digital world. You could also, you know, divide gold very easily and silver, just like Bitcoin is very easily divisible, right? And in the digital world, of course, you wouldn't be holding it, but it would be stored in a private vault somewhere. And so what's happened to the money? Well, the thing is, you look at the old stories or history, you know, programs on about Middle Ages, Roman times. People needed to get paid in gold and silver coin. Anything else they didn't want. So without gold, governments and nations can't function. And that's why they still keep gold, the central banks. They know that it's ultimately, you know, supersedes and is a lot better than their paper promises. So they need to keep gold. That's why we still, the central banks of the world and the governments of the world still hold about 25% of all the gold ever mined. That's the other thing about why gold is money, because it's not consumed. all the gold that's ever mined, it's still above ground. Very little is consumed. And what does that do? Well, that huge supply of gold, even though it's rare, it's very abundant, makes it so that big gold discoveries have very little effect in the supply, in the supply and demand, in the price. In a fiat world, what has really more impact on gold is, I think, how can I say, the psychological impact, fear, and no fear about the financial system. But in a system where you have a gold standard, where people use gold, gold is very stable. So there you have it. So what governments have done since World War One, they've suspended the gold standard. They've suspended payment, payments, because when you accept cash or digital dollars or pounds, you're not like how can I say, discharging on a debt. You're passing on a piece of paper that is a debt. And if you go to the Bank of England, they can't discharge it as well. So that's what's wrong with the system. And how does the system benefit? Well, it's a Ponzi scheme. So if you go to the Bank of England to get your gold, no, they give you another note. So how do you keep a Ponzi scheme going? You got to keep inflating. And that's why I advise people to get out of this system. Of course, you need to have some exposure to the system to live in the world right now, to pay your bills. But if you are lucky enough to be able to save some of your wealth that you've created, spare wealth or savings, I personally think that getting out of this Ponzi scheme is a great thing. And you do that through buying physical gold and silver. And for those of you who are interested, I provide a promo code MONECO64 at Gold Investments in London. You get 0.5% discount from your bullion purchases. And the reason I pitch this is because people ask me. And I don't have a problem with recommending gold investments. So they do silver as well. So that's what they've done with the money. So if you want to be in the Ponzi scheme, it's fine. Keep your money in the bank. Finance the Ponzi scheme. But if you don't, try to get out. Not just gold and silver, but pay off your debts. Buy a house. I know prices are very elevated here in the UK, but it doesn't mean you have to buy it here. Or, pay off your debts, pay off your mortgage. Invest in your children, invest in yourself, but don't invest in this Ponzi scheme. That's my opinion. So World Economic Forum, quickly go through this. Starting in Davos, and they say now that's clusters, Davos clusters, so they've expanded. And I just saw a headline this morning that the people, the locals are not very happy in Davos. They say, why can't they take the bus? Locals furious as limos clog the streets. I lived in Switzerland and for a long time. My family lived there, and they live in a similar place to Davos. It's up in the mountains, and it's a stupid thing to drive limos in Switzerland in the winter with the snow. I mean, just shows how these people are, how can I say, they don't live in the real world, these one percenters. And the interesting thing about this World Economic Forum is that the guy who started it, Klaus Martin Schwab, he's German. And I've looked at his Wikipedia, and he's a German academic, studied in Switzerland. He was born in 1938. He was able to go to all the very good schools in Switzerland. His parents must have put some of their money in Switzerland or something, I don't know. But he has a doctorate from the University of Freiburg. I think that's the one. There's a Freiburg in Germany as well, but this one is in Switzerland. He's got a doctorate or a PhD from the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, and he's got a Master's of Public Administration at the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. So the other thing as well, he's got honorary doctorates from the Ben Gurion University of Israel and the China Foreign Affairs University. So this guy is a globalist. He's a German. And yeah, this is the overt Bilderberg, in my opinion. So how do you fight these people? I know it's very hard. We are like the ants. They are the grasshoppers, so to speak. But sometimes I get encouraged. As I said, I made the video on the 12th about the French bank runs. This thing is still ongoing in France. You can't, I haven't heard more from that. But they got the right idea about the banks. But I got a few comments, Richard Henry, and I'll go through them. And I hope Richard doesn't mind that I go through it. First one, he says, great channel. I just came back from a trip to Poland and Russia. The Russian economy is strong and expanding, lots of jobs, lower pay, but much lower cost of homes and cost of living. I can buy a nice condo in St. Petersburg for $250,000 and live in a good quality of life in a Christian society. People should check it out. The other thing he says, I have all my money in gold and silver already because I do not trust the paper. Well, it's a Ponzi paper, right? No matter what happens, I will always have my gold and silver, even if the world economy crashes. And then he goes on to say, I did the same in Canada. We should all join in on it to bring down the bankers. I did it so our banks have less, so they cannot help the French bankers. There you go. So sometimes it's frustrating because when you look around in the outside world, things are not changing that much. But then you get comments like that and you say, well, that's good. There are people there waking up to this Ponzi scheme. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it far and wide. Make sure you share it with people that you think might not know about these things and might maybe be interested. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Make sure you press the little bell to be notified of my videos. You can also follow me on Steemit, DTube, Twitter. And I wish you all a great day. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.